Two of our favourites, none other than the wonderful Christy McSweeney in Melbourne. The reason we're in HD this evening, hello, my friend, is none other than, of course, Keith Pitt, of course, who's joining us in Bundy. We'll have a chat to him as well. Christy, I'm going to start with you first. Now, I know why corporate Australia makes the decision that it does to not do the Australia Day that they may have 10 or 20 years ago. But what about something like Cricket Australia that literally has built itself around a level of jingoism like come on Aussie, come on, to now turn around and not even say Australia Day on Australia Day when they're going to be playing?
Well, I think it's, first of all, wonderful that Cricket Australia has chosen to recognise First Nations on Australia Day. But it is not wonderful that they've chosen to recognise First Nations people to the exclusion of all other Australia Day language, celebration and symbolism. It is a day for Australians to come together, and I think there's room for corporates and for our sporting bodies to recognise all Australians together. Yes, we recognise First Nations history, but why do you need to exclude the general celebration around Australia Day in preference of?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, Keith, where the either-or of it and the fact that it has been bashed down to that. And again, we know who it is. It's a very small section of the Australian population that, yes, exists in its thousands, and it will Invasion Day, and it will write comments, and it'll read The Guardian, and it'll double-click every podcast about this stuff. The vast majority of Australians equally are not super jingoistic and want to get, you know, the Southern Cross tattoos and all the rest of it, but they want a day to be able to celebrate in whatever fashion they want to, a pretty damn good place.
Well, Paul, in somewhat of a miracle, I got invited by Cricket Australia to this game, and I thought, wow, Australia Day for a test match, that sounds pretty good, and I was going to go. So if Gabrielle from Cricket Australia is watching, I'm out. You can put a line through me, I'm a scratching.
Good man.
But we can fix this. So every single person that's attending on Friday, it's Australia Day. Take your waiver, take your flag, get yourself down there, wear your Australia Day hats and your thongs and everything else. Every time there's a boundary pull, let's get the flag out, let's cheer for our country. And I think that'll be just as fantastic. And if Australia Day and if Cricket Australia doesn't want to mention the word Australia Day, well, what's next? Are they going to take it out of the name of the Australian cricket team and they could be that, you know, green and gold mob?
Yeah,
just
correct.
Ridiculous.
Well done. Look, we'll let you off the hook if you decide you want to go eventually, if you just take the flag with you. But we've heard it, line. He's said it, and once he says it, foot's down, he's not going.
That's it.
All right.
Try not to be a hypocrite.
Well done.
It's a rare politician.
Yeah, bloody oath. So, okay, Christy, the Prime Minister, right? We've always cared about cost of living. It's always been the number one priority, apart from the $450 million other priority that he had last year, while things were getting worse. He's going to summons all Labor MPs on the taxpayer dollar to come back to Canberra to be the studio audience for a press conference that will no doubt play it on television and then get clapped up by a media that want to say he's finally fixed the problem. I don't know whether he's going to make an announcement or not, probably something, because we're in the lead up to that by-election. But how piss weak is the idea that the Prime Minister, front and centre, the only thing we care about, let's have another meeting about it. Like this is ridiculous. And again, it doesn't break the bank, but the idea of having to pay for a Labor MP to fly from Western Australia to Canberra to sit in the studio audience is maddening.
Well, MPs would be better off talking to their constituents and answering all the piled up emails that come into the office about cost of living and about the struggles people are having not paying their bills, and actually dealing with constituents one-on-one and listening to their issues, rather than getting on a plane to Canberra and flying there and assuming they will be flying back before Parliament starts on the 6th of February, or they'll just stay in Canberra, putting themselves more and more out of touch with the real kitchen table issues and getting caught up in the bubble of Canberra. I'm sure the Prime Minister wants every MP there before the commencement of Parliament on Tuesday, February the 6th, so he can have them all standing behind him when he makes some announcement about some tiny piece of policy they're tinkering with to improve cost of living and give all the MPs time to read the talking points about how the government is solving the cost of living and going to make it better for you. The reality is there is a severe industrial relations reform agenda on the table that is making it very difficult for anybody who works in a small business, runs a small business and has to balance their books.
Well, let alone the fact that, of course, there may well end up being a national port shutdown because the government is not interested in getting involved in a dispute between the MUA and right now, of course, DP. But I mean, Keith, again, right? I mean, you've sat there as both government and opposition, and you know the types of things that if you as a government had said our solution to cost of living is to call back all of our MPs to talk about cost of living, imagine the meltdown. But no, they're on Channel 9 tonight. They even ran, the subtle message of the MPs clapping on the Prime Minister that this is a great idea.
Oh, I can make this easy for them, Paul. Just put a mirror at the door where you walk in. You don't have to look in it for long. Just a quick glance will do. You want to know who's causing cost of living? It's them. It's the federal Labor government. It's their policies. It's what's driving up the cost of electricity. The safeguard mechanism is a creeping death on Australian exporters. We've already seen an aluminium refinery in WA close and a lot of construction companies. There'll be more to come, whether that's in concrete or elsewhere. Their IR policies are a disaster. We've got challenges in the ports. And so if they all want to sit around looking at one another, just as easy, I can save the country a fortune, Paul. Have a look in the mirror at home. It's you.
Yeah, well,
the Labor Party are the ones that are driving this.
I'm just looking on my emails here at paul@skynews.com.au, as we always do during the program, and beautiful Bree, who's a very loyal viewer of the program, has just suggested here they will end up having to fly back to their homes because, of course, if this is on Wednesday, Australia Day's on Friday, then they fly back for the start of Parliament. So get ready for double the expenses that don't need to be there.